It's still Business Morning here on Channels Television. Let's discuss gas now. It's no longer news that Nigeria holds the largest natural gas reserves in Africa and 9th largest globally. And the proven reserve estimated at about 200 trillion cubic feet. And despite this, the country's energy consumption has historically been dominated by petrol and diesel. In fact, Nigeria is called an oil-producing country instead of a gas. However, there's a growing push toward energy adoption driven by government policies and economic and environmental factors. And we know there are various government policies. One, of course, is the presidential CNG initiative. Let's look at some consumption. Domestic consumption in 2023 of natural gas reached a 10-year high. Now, these are the government policies for gas adoption, national gas. All right, my producer's back there. They're on the pedal. But okay, this is the status now. The domestic consumption hit a 10-year high in 2023. There we see it was an increase from the previous year, about 13% increase. Sectorally, we see power generation consume about 45%, industrial 24.1%, residential 30%, and refineries 11.4%. Petrochemicals had 3.2%. That's the list of the consumptions. Now let's go back to the government policies and initiatives that has been tried now. There's the Nigerian government introducing several policies. There's a national gas expansion program that was launched in 2020. It's supposed to increase the use of natural gas in transportation industry and domestic sectors. There's also the Presidential Compressed Natural Gas Initiative. That's the PICNG. That was established in 2023, and it seeks to drive the adoption of CNG as a more affordable and cleaner alternative to petrol and diesel. How much have we succeeded in that? We'll delve into that in a bit. There's the Decade of Gas Initiative. That's supposed to run from 2021 to 2030. You know, that's supposed to be on now. It's a strategic plan at the core of Nigeria's energy transition strategy, aiming to utilize the country's gas reserve for industrial growth and national development. And then there's the most popular, I think, Ajaokuta Kaduna Kano, the AKK gas pipeline. This major infrastructure project is is designed to transport gas from southern to northern parts of the country and facilitate industrial and power generation expansion. Let's see how much we have gone into this journey with Barrister Chidinma Obi. She's the Chief Executive Officer of Dindus Energy Services and Resources Limited. Barrister Obi, good morning and welcome to the program.
Thank you. It's my pleasure to be here.
Great. So we see these government policies, especially the Decade of Gas. That was so loud at a point. I don't know if we hear a lot about it, but being in that oil and gas sector, how much progress have we made in this journey to adopting renewed energy, but looking at gas especially now?
I believe the country is making tremendous progress from where we're coming from on gas expansion, utilization, and initiative. Coming from the last administration to our present administration, there's been a push. There's been a push to ensure that the country's utilization of natural gas and its components is on the high. And one very prominent, like you have mentioned, the Decade of Gas will not be sounding in the air because we are still in that decade going down, and it's produced a lot of important additional dimensions to the revolution of gas in Nigeria. A couple of years back, we didn't have a lot of gas processing companies. We are not hearing so much of gas flaring now as it used to be before, even though the gas flare out initiative has not really taken up as it should, because the people who have the gas, the oil and gas companies, and the people who are processing are still in the dimensions of moving forward. So I believe, not that I think, being in the sector, I've been in this sector for from cradle to almost nearing gray, right? And I can say that there's been no all the time that the gas push is as much as it's been in the last couple of years. I would take, for an instance, the initiative, Presidential Gas Initiative. It is a revolutionary thing that's catching on with, first, on the convergence of converting cars to utilize natural gas, CNG, LNG, for instance, to move instead of a natural white product. In the industrial sector, the revolution will start, and that is that instead of over-dependence on diesel, when the companies who have been depending on gas generators because of our epileptic power issues come fully to realizing that it's cheaper to actually run on natural gas, on LNG, on CNG. LNG actually most, because it's a cheaper fuel to run. But there's an impediment that's holding those who've gotten loads of generators from switching over because of cost of switching over. But by the time you take the long-term gain, you find out that you can make that infrastructural change, because companies are springing up and they're looking for off-takers to take off LNG, natural gas, CNG, to power industrial zones.
Yeah, because I wanted to ask, how much of a progress have we made in gas to electricity? I know a couple of companies, big companies who are depending on that, but it doesn't seem widespread.
Yes, because what we're doing now is that we're developing a gas processing company, right? And we're looking for off-takers, talking to big companies. One of the laybacks that we get is, we can't pay for new infrastructure. You have to find companies that have to do the conversion for us. And mind you, we're not a converting company, but we have to work together with them to introduce them to the clients to be able to push our products in the market, and they see the advantages. Those who have moved cannot go back. Those who have not moved are counting the cost of putting the infrastructure, which is capital, but it's like installing clean energy solar in your homes. If you want it to power everything in your house, it's a monumental investment. But when you begin to live with it, you will know that you're really not missing, that your capital investment would have paid off. So I'll encourage Nigerians to begin to look at, especially our big industrialists, right, who cannot depend on the national grid for electricity, and who has been dependent on generators and diesel, to come talk to us and partner with us to, switch up their machineries.
So I wonder which one is more cost effective. A lot of households, for instance, I know have switched to solar, even if it's partial. So solar competing with gas, I wonder which one seems more attractive.
Okay, I could give you a very natural answer from experience.
Not from sentiment.
Not from sentiment.
Okay.
Right. And that is about using solar to power homes as per using a gas generator, right? The solar to power your homes effectively, to carry on all your equipment, is very cost intensive, right? Especially in the hot season. But sunshine is abundant here, and you have only, in a year, you have only 3 months in a year that you have, so less than 90 days. At the end of the day, when you are able to spend, depending on the kind of house that you live in, right, and depending on what you want to support, again, you would, from band A to band B to band C of electricity, you were not putting on your ACs. So even when you want to put clean energy solar now that I'm talking about, you can kind of scale up. is not cheap at first, but it doesn't give you the difficulty of going to look for where to fill up your gas.
All right, Barrister,
yeah.
we really have to stop here. Maybe we'll try and get you back into the studio to conclude this conversation. Barrister Chidinma Obi is Chief Executive Officer of Deters Energy Services and Resources Limited, preaching the message of gas today. And our message will preach never. Thank you so much for coming on the program.
Thank you. It's my pleasure.